Welcome back to Talkin' Baseball. We asked you guys for some help today, and we think you're giving it to us. It's a voicemail app. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin' Baseball. My name's Jimmy. Sitting next to me is Jake. We're actually sharing headphones right now, 6 feet apart. That was a lie. And Trevor is in California. 23-year-old big baby David in the corner producing. Trev, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I feel bad because I forgot to give old BBD a birthday shout yesterday, so I'm going to do it now. Happy belated BBD, you big stud.
Thank you very much, Trevor.
You're welcome. I'm doing great, though. We played some tennis this morning, so I got my athletic endeavor in. It's really hot, but things are good.
Who'd you play against?
Olivia, my wife. She's pretty legit. Like she
played tennis in high
works for me.
school.
Yeah.
Katie played tennis in high school. We're pretty equal on the court. I think if
it's
I
a little
could...
frustrating sometimes for me because I'm supposed to be like an athlete and whatnot, and it's slowly but surely I'm getting better. But she's got like the form and stuff down, so I get frustrated with it.
Yeah, if I didn't lose my breath after 2 serves, I think I'd be able to keep up better.
It's that cardio.
Jake, how are you doing?
It's that cardio. Look good, play good. I'm doing well. Despite Jeff Passan's best efforts to bring me down.
You seen that yet, Trev?
I'm going right now.
I am a strong, confident male, and I don't have to answer to his BS.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
and you are sitting in your power pose again.
I've got my current power pose with the bat
Baseball
locked against
bat
my back. I
behind
think it's
the back.
good. I feel like I've seen the Instagram spines where you put something back there and it makes you arch more, so maybe that's what it is, but yeah.
I'm doing it.
I mean, I just read his comment.
And thoughts?
I'll find him for you.
Can you read it? Can you read it to the people for those who haven't read it?
Well, Jake posted a provocative video on his Twitter wearing a belly shirt. I think you look great.
Yeah, I know it.
Jim, you called Jeff out with a tweet. You said, can't wait to see when Jeff has to dress up for Jake's Story Alley Day. And then Jeffrey came back with some heat.
Hot.
He said, replying to you, I'm not in the business of gaining 20 pounds and shrinking 4 inches.
Yeah.
Well,
it was quick.
That's not
it was
nice.
quick. It was hot. It was fast.
He came in hot.
there's no way he's 4 inches taller than you either. I've
No.
seen you guys
No.
back to back.
Inch and a half. It's probably 30 pounds if we're being honest. I think
He's
Jeff,
pretty small.
I think Jeff underestimates
What do you got
Yeah.
passing at 150?
around $150.
Yeah.
5'8" and a half.
You'd snap him in half
$150.
like a little twig.
Oh,
I'd
I
give him
would,
5'9", 150.
Jeff knows I would drop him like a bad habit. He does not want any of this.
Low man wins.
He DM'd afterwards and he said some kind words, which I don't feel like I have to share. But, you know, it's theme of this week, real friends stab you in the front, and Jeff's a friend. So, is what it is.
Yeah. All right. So
I don't love it.
I love it.
You and Jeff are still figuring things out, and I get it. You guys had your your standoff, and then you had a really good point, which I think we do need to bring to his attention the next time we cross paths, that, you know, there was only, 3 official offers? Yet we got reports of about 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, you know, people were being critical to you about. So I just feel like big buddy cop vibe sometimes from me and Trevor. You know, you got the handsome, slick talking athlete, and then you got Trevor doing his games and
high all
well.
the time,
Yeah.
catching lizards.
don't makes me pretty jealous.
All
A
right.
sweet hat on today.
So-
Things are going
Sweet
good
hat.
for me.
So when we started talking baseball, Jake and I last season would open up every series recap, and we probably will as soon as this season starts again. I think we've told you this, Trev, before. Open up every show to basically let you know that you know your favorite team better than we know your favorite team. There's not a secret. A lot of a lot of baseball, Sunday night baseball, Wednesday night baseball, Fox, they don't like to admit that. We don't care.
Yeah.
So we asked everyone, call in, let us know what position battle, what storyline, what's going on with your favorite team that maybe we don't know about.
Yeah.
Something interesting that's not on our radar. We got a good amount of calls here. I'm excited to learn, find out, and then give really quick takes on what I think of the situation that I'm just learning about. So excited. You guys excited?
Beauty.
I think admitting that you're not all-knowing is a step that a lot of people in this country need to take.
Isn't it nuts?
Smartest thing you can do is admit you're dumb.
Isn't it nuts?
I agree with that. I mean, maybe not that bluntly, but yeah.
Shakespeare said it a little different. You want me to quote Shakespeare for you?
I don't like Shakespeare either.
No?
Okay.
No quoting then.
Cool.
He uses the word doth in it, though. Do you like that word? D-O-T-H?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Isn't
me
that
neither.
doth?
Well, it depends how you say it. I have an
boy.
Eastern accent.
You know,
It's doth.
kind of
Jeez.
along those lines, I started watching The Patriot last night.
The movie with Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
Love
Gets
it.
me every time, man.
It's a great movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
When his son gets shot in the
Spoiler.
beginning,
Teaser.
Thomas,
Yeah. Ephraim from Everwood.
the guy who plays like the mean general, I forget
Mhm.
his name in the movie, but
I think
my
it's Sergeant
goodness.
Dickface.
What a villain.
Yeah, the Green Dragons. The Green Dragoons. Which was Jake's intramural team name
Yeah.
in college a lot. You know, just
were-
honoring people that burned down innocent families. That's what Jake did in college.
I mean, literally a group of virgins picking out a intramural team name, and we just landed at the Dragoons, and we rolled with it for 4 years.
Was that
so.
after watching the movie, or this
No.
was like okay.
I think someone said dragons, and then someone said dragoons just to be like dumb, and we were like, let's go. So
Sounds like your life.
sounds like how life happens. Someone says something dumber, and we roll with it. And action.
All right, here we go. First voicemail.
Storyline for the Philadelphia Phillies will be center field. Roman Quinn, Adam Hainsley, and potentially also Scott Kingery getting some outfield stuff. Also, I think that could be a really interesting battle. Roman's got that traditional speed, not a great bat. Hainsley, little less of the speed, a little bit better of a bat. Kingery probably offers you the best, but is more of a second baseman. Have a nice day.
All right. Phillies, Trev, an old party town of yours. Center field battle in Philly. Adam, how do you say it? Hasley?
Hasley.
Hasley. I think it's
Hazley.
Hazley. Yeah, I know all three of those guys, and I think who was the caller there? What was his name?
Phillies center field battle, I think is his given name.
Okay. Well, he hit it right on the head. I mean, he described it perfectly. I mean, you have a guy like Roman Quinn, who's kind of the prototypical center fielder. He's a switch hitter, can go get the ball out in the outfield. Pretty good player. I think he sets up more as a late inning bench guy. Hazley is kind of a bat first guy. He can play a little bit of center field as well. Probably not as good as Roman Quinn can. And then you have Scotty Kingery, who's kind of, I don't know how you want to describe him. He can kind of do it all on the diamond. Very versatile. I think he's got the most upside of anybody, but they really like Hazley. They really do. They like his bat and the way he gives it bats. So, it could be different under Girardi what they're looking for. But I think that's a Scotty Kingery position until something happens.
I was going to ask you about Hazley because when we've been doing our Phillies love, whether the Neil Walker interview or the Rhys Hoskins, we've talked about that lineup, and Hazley has been kind of penciled into the 9-hole, and, he's a former first-round pick. Again, this is where you know your team better than I do because I didn't watch a single Adam Hazley at bat last year, but he put up a nice little WAR in 67 games. He was like a 2-WAR player. And, he hit 266, 324 on base. Not impressive, but for your rookie year, we've seen a lot of guys do a lot worse. So I I was wondering where he was at, and I actually love the idea of Kinger going out there because that opens up second base for our guy Neil Walker, who, again, like Neil,
Pro's pro.
he's a pro, but he's also a guy that like he could carry your lineup for a week or two. When he gets hot, it's like legit hot. So I don't know enough about Quinn. Apparently, you're making it sound like he's the best defensive option, so that would be the card to play there.
So Kinger started 57 games in center field last year. Now, if Quinn and how do you pronounce it? Is it Hazley or
That's the whole debate.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I played with the guy. I should probably know.
Well, you know,
Adam.
He played 67 games last year. I didn't know about this battle at all, so this is exciting to learn about it. If they're looking at spring training numbers, like if it was a spring competition at all, Hasley had an awful spring.
He was working on things.
It was only 8 games, but Roman Quinn in his games had a phenomenal spring in his 8 games. So I don't know. That doesn't mean anything probably, but interesting. I'm just going to take a note. I like what you said, Jake. If Kinger goes out there, it opens up more spots. Like, would you rather Kinger and Walker when Walker's hot, or is this a developmental year? Like, is Hasley have the long game?
It feels like you give Hasley the first shot at it, the lefty bat. You bench him against other lefties, sure, but he's a first-round pick and he had an okay rookie year. It feels like roll him out there. And I think Kinger is kind of their, part of the reason they gave him the contract early is that he can move around. So, if Kinger needs to play center, if he needs to play second, I think he can play a little third. I think he's shortstop in a pinch. So I think Kinger's kind of their utility knife. They want to get him the at-bats because he's, he was a big prospect for them. So
I don't know anything, like I said.
Sure.
Looking at Quinn's game logs, he was drafted in 2011, cracked the MLB in 2016, 15 games, goes back to AAA, goes back to rookie ball, goes back to MLB, and in 18 and 19, it seems like he's not a prospect to them anymore, the way they've been going up and down.
Who's that? I'm
Quinn.
Sorry, thinking about the entire situation, they want Scotty to play.
Yeah.
So kind of like wherever he plays, if he plays second base, then it opens up that outfield spot. But Hasley, and it is Hasley, I just checked for us. Like I said, they like his bat. So I think all three of these guys are going to get playing time with the majority of it going to Hasley and Kingery. And then Quinn kind of mixing in there because he is a switch hitter. He'll be able to, maximize the platoon splits. It's a good battle, and I think that ultimately it just depends on if they feel like they have someone that could, with the bat, could play second base. Because they still have Segura there, don't they?
So right now they have Segura penciled at third, which Neil can also play, and Kinger. And right now they have Josh Harrison too, who can play second base, third base.
Yeah.
So they've got these veteran bats, which at the same time almost makes me nervous for Hasley. Because, if you've got Josh Harrison or Neil Walker playing good baseball, roll those dudes out there.
With Joe Girardi, a 60-game season, and now a DH, the guys who are versatile will probably get a longer leash and more looks than a guy who, hey, if he's hitting, he's only playing one position. That guy's going to have to light it up in the batter's box to stick. There's a take.
Boom.
I almost, now that I'm really, really thinking about it, with some of the guys they have in the corners, we might see defensive switch Roman come in and play. Because he's done that before. When you need to shut the game down, you have your, ninth inning squad out there. They'll send Roman out there because he can go get it.
And especially a lot of veterans too, so maybe a little pinch run and then go into the field. I like that.
Yeah, if Kutch is in the outfield and, they're up by 3 runs in the ninth, 2 runs in the ninth, you're going to see Roman go in there. So I think Roman probably is going to start on the bench, and then, if Hasley can find his way in the lineup, he'll get some starts out there.
Cool. So Phillies fans, tell us how wrong
good
or right
hitter.
we were.
He's a really good hitter.
We're going to the Braves now.
What's up, guys? I'm a Braves fan in Virginia. Everywhere around me, I see nothing but Nats fans. And I think that the Braves somehow, some way, are underrated. Maybe this is just me because I'm a Braves fan, but I don't think Soroka and Fried are talked about enough. The fact that they are up-and-coming aces does not get talked about as much as Braves fans do. Am I crazy, or are they just completely underrated? And what are their chances in the NL East? Thanks, guys. Bye.
Now, I'd have to go relook at Fried's numbers. I know that he's a friend of yours, a friend of the program. We had him on the show. I like Fried a lot. I don't know his numbers. Soroka does not get talked about enough. That's a fact.
I agree with that.
That dude he's 22 years old, and he was awesome last year.
Like ridiculous.
Like
really
very, very good.
And he's
two
22.
something, right? He was a 2-something.
Yeah. He's 22 years old.
He had a 2.69 ERA. He's
Wow.
20. He was 21 last year.
Yeah.
Or turned 22 halfway through the year. I don't know when his birthday was. I mean, he's All-Star, Cy Young votes, Rookie of the Year votes, finished second. And I do think that's not a household name in the way, like Jack Flaherty. Soroka should kind of be in the same wavelength as Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's got to do it again.
Yeah,
I think
Jack's got slightly
Jack's done
more
the same
of a
thing. He's
body
been
work.
maybe a
but-
little bit longer, but yeah, I agree with that.
Last season, at least.
But
They were
I
both
think-
dealing young
I
studs.
think the point is, like, in theory, this guy's the ace of the Braves.
Yes.
And the Braves are, a well-known baseball team, one of the best teams in baseball. Like, Mike Soroka should be more well-known.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I knew he had a good year, and I mean, just looking at the numbers now, he crushed it. And I love how young he is. And with Max, I think he had settled in right at a 4 ERA last year, won 17 games, which I know people don't love that stat anymore, but it's still pretty impressive. And he's kind of coming into his own. I've known Max for a long time, and he's a guy that needs to feel comfortable. And I think he's getting to that point now. He's a big leaguer, and you have to get over that hump of like, am I a real big leaguer, or am I just here for a little bit? Last year was his time to establish himself, and he did it. So now that he's settled in, that's when you see guys take off. I mean, he's 26, turning 27 this year, I believe. This is a year where he could make that huge leap, and if he does, yeah, the Braves are. It's a great 1-2 punch for them to have.
Yeah. And Fried's numbers, last year he had a 4 ERA. So
Yeah, right at
he's
the 4.
good. Yeah. Soroka is also cool because he's not a flamethrower. Like, he doesn't even throw his four-seam fastball as his number one pitch. He's like the sinker, slider, two-seam slider mix. I think he hits like 92 miles per hour. Well, you think 22-year-old 2.6 ERA,
Right.
You're not thinking crafty. You're thinking Walker Buehler, Jack Flaherty
Sure.
pitch mix. So I
I
think
will
that's
be
cool.
honest. I'd have to go watch some of his pitch mix and kind of see what he's doing. That leaves him open to maybe a little bit of regression. If he's not spot on and he doesn't have the velo, then and there's also now a book out on him. So it's going to be both these guys.
No,
it is.
But he was really good at inducing soft contact. He was, top tier exit velocity and missing barrels. He was top tier. But yeah, he's according to Baseball Savant.
And I'd let the Braves fan correct me if they want, but I feel like they had a little bit of the kitty gloves on Fried last year. He only had 3 starts with 100 pitches, and that's 101, 101, 100. So, and it makes sense. I mean, he's a young dude, and he's a young lefty. And I wonder if because we met him briefly, and you're kind of right. Like, he's, seemingly quiet, a little hot boy. I'll give him that. But, you're right. Like, I could see him needing to be a little more comfortable than what you'd expect. But I'm interested to see how much leash they give him this year. If they give him a couple 110s, like you're dealing.
This is his 26-year-old season.
In a shortened
it's time
season,
to
like
go.
let him rip. Yeah.
You think Soroka doesn't get talked about because he's not American?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Canuck.
Yeah. Wow. And then he also said, like, what do we like the Braves odds? We do.
Yeah, of course.
They're good. I think the thing that gets me is, like, the East is so good and baseball is such a coin flip, but I've heard quotes from executives that are like, if the Braves don't win it in the next 5 years, it's a massive failure. And it's like, I don't know. Like,
I think that's just
a lot
because they
going on.
locked up all these guys when they
Right.
didn't have to.
Albies and Roro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't give crazy contracts to these guys.
No. That's why people are saying
7-8 years, $100 million for Ronald Acuna. He doesn't have to be Ronald Acuna for them to get the value. Like if he's Ronald Acuna, like we know, they scored on that.
And I think
deal.
that's what people are saying with Albies and Acuna and the young pitchers. Like they should be able to add the pieces around that financially to do stuff. So
yeah,
Dude, the East. I haven't really looked at an East schedule yet. NL East schedule. It's tough. I mean, they open up. If the Mets are good, which I'm kind of having doubts on the rotation with Syndergaard out now, but they're going to see DeGrom twice in their first week. Maybe? Yeah, they're going to see DeGrom.
I just read that about the Braves. They're facing some studs up front.
Yeah, and the Rays. So, like, they open up 3 against the Mets, 4 against the Rays, 4 against the Mets. So they're getting a heavy dose of pitching right out the gate.
They said something like they're going to face 11 aces in the first 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, that's
like
a tough opening. And then, it's all Phillies. They got the Nationals. They have a chunk where they play the Nationals 7 times in 10 games in 10 days. So they have some stretches where it's like, don't slump then because you will be screwed. But I do think they're better than all those teams on paper. Maybe not the Nats, but maybe. They're right in there. So I don't know. That's going to be fun to watch. All right, another Braves one right afterwards.
For my Braves, a lot of people know about the third base battle between young, thick Austin Riley and Johan Camargo. Whether or not Ozuna can fill Donaldson's shoes is a big story also. However, one storyline you may not know is with Sean Newcomb. Since debuting, he's been inconsistent as a starter, and when the Braves needed help in the pen last year, he shoved. He has said he wants to be a starting pitcher, and the Braves are going to give him a shot this year, but with all the young pitching they have, his future is very much up in the air. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
So last time we checked in when we were at Braves camp, it was like, with Hamels out, Newcomb had locked up that 4th spot, and then Felix was probably getting the 5th. So now Hamels is healthy, I believe. Felix is opted out. Newcomb's the 5th, right? Is that where we're going into camp as?
Fangraphs has Kyle Wright penned in. Not super familiar with him, but he's a young blood, former first-round pick, so they've got more help on the way, it looks like. And that's how you build a good team, folks. What Newcomb might have working against him, he had a really nice 2018, 30 starts, 3.9 ERA. 2019, he got kicked to the pen most of the season, and he was good. 3.16 ERA, a 1.44 ERA plus, and the Braves need help down there. So I don't know. I like him. If you can have a young, how old is he? 27. University of Hartford, Jim.
You are
one of your brethren.
Still paying that place a ton of money.
Sean Newcomb has a lot more value as left-handed starting pitching, but for what the Braves are trying to do, like they could be quick to kick him back into the bullpen if they need it.
There is a recipe of pitchers, young pitchers who are faltering as a starter, go to the pen and learn how to dial it up, learn how to attack the zone more. That's usually what you hear. Who else? Severino did it with the Yankees. Someone else did it before Severino. Herman did it after Severino. There was someone else that did it before. I forget who it was. Where they say, I learned to attack the zone more.
Joe Chamberlain?
No, they messed him up. But
Phil Hughes.
But yeah, I don't know much about Newcomb. You got anything on Newcomb, Trev?
I mean, I don't want to speak a lot on him because I haven't seen him pitch a ton. But in my experience, I mean, they want guys to be starters. If he has starter potential and they can see him in that role, he's going to get some starts then. As important as bullpens have become, you still need to have the horses. So it just kind of depends, especially early on in the season. He's probably going to get some starts, I'd assume, as guys aren't going as long. I mean, what I'm looking at here is Soroka, Fulte, Fried, Hamels, and him.
What's the deal with Fulte? Did you ever face him or anything? Because he's got the lights out. I mean, his 2018 All-Star, 8th in the Cy Young, and then everything else around that is kind of
I did face him, I believe. I think I remember facing him. But, sometimes that happens, It's a league of adjustments, and if guys make an adjustment on you or kind of pick up something that you're not doing as well as you should be, then you got to figure it out. But I mean, he's got the stuff, you know. So I think what we're seeing here is there's a lot of uncertainty in the Braves rotation.
Good uncertainty though.
It's good,
like ideal uncertainty, but uncertainty.
But I think this is a team that's going to rely on a lot on their offense as well.
What's that?
So this is a team that's going to rely on
Fulte
that
well.
offense for them to carry that as well.
What do you got, BBD?
Trevor, you were 3 for 4 with a double off Fulte.
Wow.
I mean,
Congrats,
guys,
Trev.
What do you say? Right-handed white dude? Something like that?
Righty.
He's got a little more cheese than that.
You guys
but
are
nice.
surprised.
Fulte has a lot to.
Against somebody.
I mean,
I was a pretty good baseball player at one point, guys.
we weren't surprised. We were happy for you.
Thank you.
Fulte got blowed up, right? Is he sitting
Yeah.
on that terrible outing still? The last game.
Well, he had the hero game before that.
Yeah, but
so
then I
think you
remember
can
the
watch
last
that.
shot of Fulte is him standing on the steps, looking out, being like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's in his brain and he's just dying to get back out there.
Job, Jack Flaherty.
Good job, Jack Flaherty. All right, next voicemail. Moving to the Nats, staying in the East.
Wow. East Coast pod.
Baseball's back. All right. You hear from Arlington, Virginia, put it on the map. I'm talking about the Nationals and the hole we have at third base, and I don't think Carter Kieboom is going to be anywhere good enough to fill that hole we have there. I think Krabs and Castro will probably get some looks there. And I think Juan Soto is going to hit 2 home runs off of Cole, maybe one off of Cole, one off another pitcher, but he'll get to that game opening day.
Wow.
Sorry about the blunder call. It was pretty embarrassing. Bye. Love you guys.
Okay, he left 2, and we didn't hear the other one yet.
We
won't hear the other one. It was pretty
Okay.
embarrassing. Do you confirm that it was embarrassing, BBD?
Same number called in twice.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool.
That's how we operate here.
Who did he say was going to homer off Cole?
Soto's going to get him twice.
Oh, that's fine.
Or he'll get 2. One off of Cole.
Okay.
Sure.
That was I couldn't. It was hard for me to hear. So if anyone can just do a quick paraphrasing of what he said.
Nationals third base. They're
What's
trying to
up with
replace
it, yeah.
Rendon. They've got the top prospect, Carter Kieboom.
Boom, boom. Max back
and
guy.
I think Boom Boom can hit. I think the rumor is his defense is behind that. And, they've got a bunch of old dudes that can kind of play third base between Kendrick, Asdrubal Cabrera, Starlin Castro.
Dude, they rode Cabrera last postseason.
Dude, Cabrera, look at Cabrera and Howie Kendrick's numbers on the Nats. They were like MVP level type stuff. And they had the old guy thing going last year that they said like they would raise their hands for days off and be like, I'm tired. And teams don't normally do that. So
Hey, Skip.
I don't know.
Pretty tired.
Coach, I'm old.
I'd say they probably give Carter a chance to stick there.
Why is everyone down on him? So Carter Kieboom, every time I hear his name thrown out there or see it thrown out there in an article, it's like, well, Carter Kieboom is being groomed to take over the third baseman's role, and then there's doubts. Like every time, it's not like gung-ho excitement. It's like a reluctance to pass him the third base out. That's the I don't know the situation. That's the vibe I get from it, from every time I hear it and read about it. What's the downside? Is he just not ready in a sense?
I think to my knowledge, he came up in the minor leagues as a shortstop. We could look up those game logs, but going over and trying to learn third base, from my experience, I went through the same damn thing. It's not an easy thing to do, especially if you're getting put there at the major league level and having to learn on the fly. So if it was defensively, that's such an easy fix. If this guy spent his entire offseason and both spring trainings working at it, like as a shortstop, you're going to make defensive strides over there. So if that's what they're worried about, I think that's probably going to be a thing in the past.
Yeah, and I just found my answer, Trev. He has only started 9 games at third base.
Yeah.
In all of the minor leagues and everything. That was last year. So it's a very recent, very new.
He'll figure it out.
I get it now.
Get his ass out there, hit him a million ground balls, make him comfortable. It's a different position.
And I keep flip-flopping on rookies this year because there's this.
He crushed Fresno last year.
If you're going to use a rookie, like, go. Like Yankees and Clark Schmidt. Sorry to bring it back to the Yankees, but I think that they're going to use him at some point this year, whether it's injuries or not. So if you're going to use him, like, might as well go. Might as well go in the 60 games. Because, we don't have a full season to get the rookies ready. So if you might need someone like that in a playoff run, get him out there now so you can find out. And Carter Kieboom, yeah, that's the only part that's also scary, because say if he does need to learn third base, like, Nat fans are going to be with a short rope.
Yeah, I could see that. And then we look at service time. Okay, he played 11 games last year. That
just means he's going to miss 7 this year.
Yeah, whatever it is, each game is worth, what do we say, 2.7 games? Something like that. So does that mean he only has to miss like 3 then?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Plus the 11 games. So he might be what they do.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you're not defensively, you're not ready yet. We've seen that excuse before. But I think a guy like this who they are counting on to come in and fill a role with their organization, probably going to get some chances this year. A lot. And they have the veteran depth to back him up.
Something I ran into, Trev, is if you can play defense, how do I word this? If you can play defense, but you can't hit, I'm out. I don't even care about it. I'm out. Next voicemail.
Okay.
Also, that guy who left that voicemail is a Nats fan, seems like it, but listens to Talkin' Yanks because he dropped some Talkin' Yanks lingo in there and put it on the map.
It's also, final note on Kieboom, it's the taste he left in their mouth. He had 39 at-bats last year, and he hit 128. So that just feeds into the haters.
Yeah, but that's really tough for him because they're throwing him at a brand new, like they're just putting him in a blender.
Remember when guys yelled for Andujar because he had 1 game?
Oh, yeah.
So remember what they said about Mike Trout after 2011?
Trade him for Plouffe.
He had a horrible 2011. Now he's literally the greatest player to ever play the game. So
next.
That's fun.
Hey, guys. Big Ace fan here. And I think the most underrated storyline of the season is how good this A's rotation can be. I mean, Frankie Montas was really on the short list to start the All-Star game before getting popped last year. Sean Manaea had a great 2018 and was en route to even better 2019 before the wild card game. Jesus Luzardo, if you watch that wild card game, you already know how good he can be. And then AJ Puck is just as good and just as useful. And if that makes Mike Fiers your 5, I think you're sitting really pretty. Let me know what you guys think.
All right, you got to fire. This is where maybe the Talkin' baseball fans don't know this about me yet. Trev, I don't know if you don't know this about me, but I'm not going to ride the hype of prospects. Like, throwing, like, a lot of faith in Puck and Luzardo right now, to me, is crazy. Like, not saying these guys won't become great starting pitchers, but going into the 2020 season and saying these guys are going to be, like, locked down 3 or even 4 arms in the rotation and they help solidify it, you can't do that. You really can't. In my opinion, you can't do that. You have no idea what you're actually getting. I'm not trying to knock them. I'm just saying, like, as a fan base, to be like, we got Luzardo, he's going to be a stud. You have no idea. You have 0 idea.
I mean, I agree with that. I think he said this could be a really good rotation, and nobody's talking about it. And I agree with that statement. I've seen a lot of these guys throw. I think with a guy like Puck, he's got a different skill set.
He cut his hair, though, so we're all upset about that.
Yeah, that's tough. He's 6'7", can throw the ball a ton. He's kind of a guy you're like, okay, like if he can just be around the zone, he's probably going to be effective because you just don't see guys like that often, especially from the left-hand side. So then, a guy like Jesus Luzardo, he's been a top prospect for a long time, came up, had some success. So I think these aren't just kind of like maybes. Maybe
no,
they're
highly touted. Like I even think this about highly touted guys. Like we just said.
I agree with that.
Mike Trout had a bad rookie debut, first 60 games or whatever. You know what I mean? They're not established, so you can't act.
I really don't think any of the staff is established besides Mike over there. Because
that's the funny part. That's the Jakey baseball joke I had lined up. Is like, yeah, Fiers could be your 5. He could also be your 1, and not like technically he's penciled in as the one right now. I mean, even Manaea, who I like a lot, doesn't have a lot of the advanced metrics numbers that you want to see from a guy, but I think that dude can just pitch. I don't think that's a problem. But yeah, I mean, if someone like AJ Puck, you know, for some reason loses the zone in his first 2 starts, like, you just lost the guy. Like, he's going into the pen to figure it out because it's just shortened season. But at the same time, people aren't talking about the A's enough. They're a really good team.
Defense, hitting, really good. And if these guys can be like plus arms, if they can break out, then you have a very scary, scary thing. You got us? Seems like Trev lost our audio real quick. All right. Okay.
Hey,
Trev, it was just you and the patrons. All right. So we were talking about the A's and how the rotation has a lot of potential, but you can't write it in chalk yet and be like, it's a solid 1 through 5.
I mean, yeah, we're not talking like they got the 3 horsemen there, but they could.
They could.
You know, that's kind of like the thing with the younger guys. They got to do it, and everyone's like, "Oh, they got to do it before you give them any credit." It's like, well, this might be the year they do it.
Yeah, and I mean, they're getting this conversation for a reason because they're highly touted prospects and they have the potential to do it. I'm just, the cynic in me is still like, I'm not going to be like, yeah, the A's, watch out for that starting 5 yet.
Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here.
Please.
I was 16 years old, and I was looking to earn some extra dough because I wanted to, go to In-N-Out on a Saturday night if I wanted to. So I went to the mall, and I applied at Mrs. Fields Cookies for a job.
Yep.
That and some skate shop that was there. Mrs. Fields turned me down and said, we need someone with experience. And it's like, dude, how am I supposed to get experience if you don't let me work at it?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like what we're talking about with these pitchers. It's like, yeah, you need experience. We need to see you do it a few times. Well, it's like, let him pitch.
Yeah.
Let
him go eat, but
yeah.
Then we'll get excited. All right, next question.
So I'm Mike. I think an underrated storyline you guys should look out for is Big Baby David's tweets. Very underrated, flying under the radar. Trevor Plouffe gives him the acknowledgement that he deserves, but I don't think he gets the recognition that he really should. He's not verified.
Wow.
I think we should start a hashtag, get Big Baby David, or BBD verified. It's only right. Yankees Twitter deserves it.
Thank you, Mike, BBD's younger brother, for
you.
calling in and participating. Was that a birthday present?
I really don't know who that was, but it made me laugh a lot. so I figured
BBD,
I'd
how about
taste
that
myself.
shout out though?
Wow.
Yeah,
Taste
nice.
Pro Taster Pod.
Hey guys,
I'm so jealous
hey
of your
guys,
fucking
Harry
back
from
thing.
Huddersfield in England here. I have the misfortune of being a fan of the Houston Astros. As far as underrated storylines go, one thing I think people aren't talking about enough is the fact that George Springer is a free agent at the end of the season, meaning that he has just 60 games to prove that he can still hit without knowing what pitch is coming. This is a guy who put up kind of MVP level numbers last year of 162 games. He was injured for quite a lot of the season. But you question how well he can prove himself over 60 games in what is going to be kind of a dampened free agent market. So would love to hear you guys' opinions on that. Cheers.
Was that another? Was that? I missed the beginning because the earphone.
He's an English man.
It wasn't Joey Mellows?
No.
Okay, just another English baseball fan. Welcome. Thank you very much for calling.
Coming. London game's working.
Very interesting storyline.
Yeah.
Do they try to trade him? Probably not, because they're going to be in it and they're going to be trying to win and they're a good team. But is that a factor for free agency, Trev? Like, our team's going to be looking and like, well, let's see what he does when he doesn't know it's coming. Now, he hasn't. See, I don't think he's always 100% knowing it's coming. I don't know, though. Maybe. They were doing it a lot.
Yeah, I think everybody is going to be paying attention to how the Astros do this year. That's not something that people have forgotten about. Although this is going to be an easier year than the Astros could have ever imagined back in February, people are still going to be remembering the storyline. People are still going to be talking about it. It's going to be in their minds. So, yeah, I think it's important to see how these guys respond to it. But yeah, George is a hell of a ball player. He was one of my favorite players in the league. Now I can't have him be one of my favorite players because of the whole scandal. But if he comes out this year and bangs, he's going to have a spot in free agency. It's not going to be what it was. We all know that the owners are not going to open the wallets up like maybe they would have pre-COVID. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands. It wouldn't surprise me if he landed back with Houston. But again, this is his age 30 season, so...
Dude, unless he wants out of that constantness of the deal, of dealing with it. You know, maybe he just wants, like, you know, oh, shit, their fans are going to be back next year. I'll get out before that happens.
He also, I think, you know, like a lot of free agents, he will take the biggest contract offered.
Yeah,
so,
he's 30, so I wonder what it would be.
Gosh, you know what? Like, yeah, this is his age 30 season, but he's almost 31. Like, he's turning 31 right at the end of this season.
And, you know, he's been playing center, and, you know, how it normally plays out is you kick to left or right for a couple years, and you know, there's no reason to not believe George can't do that. He was on a nasty pace last year. He had 39 homers in 122 games. He was on pace for 50+. So, hey, back to our betting pod. If any of you want a real deep cut George Springer, I tweeted out facetiously on January 18th, the day after my sister's birthday. I said, no, it's a good way to replace losing some first and second round picks, flipping George Springer at the deadline when the A's and Rangers are ahead of you in the standings. Would I love to retweet that if it's honest? Absolutely. Do I think it happens? No. But yeah, man, I mean, George Springer, 2 of the past 3 years has had an OPS plus that was above 140. So, hey, and, you know, I don't know how his top speed is and how he's taking care of his body. If you could get 2 years at a center field and then another 3 at the corner, I mean, that's 5 years, over $20 million per, easy, I think.
Yeah, he's a stud. I think his body is just fine. He's a guy. He doesn't seem 30 to me or 31 to me. When I think about George Springer, I'm like, this guy's 26, 27, 28. But maybe that's just the way he plays. He does play emphatically, kind of seems balls to the wall. I dig that. I do agree that teams should be proactive in going out and getting guys like this, but I don't know about a 5-year deal for him. Just that age, man. People don't want to.
You know where he's from?
People don't want to give it out. I do know where he's from. Did you ask me that?
Yeah, do you know?
Of course I do. Hard hitting, baby.
Hard hitting, baby. New Britain.
I'm pretty sure he came out to one of the games while I was there.
Pride of Connecticut.
Yeah. Like I said, man, he's one of my favorite players. And
20th on the all-time Connecticut hit list.
Good for
It's
him.
got a long way to go.
Huge.
Jim O'Rourke in 1872.
How's he doing with homers? Was it Bagwell? Who's one?
Mo Vaughn.
Wow, love
in a landslide. George Springer's the 3rd most home runs by a player born in Connecticut.
Come on, George.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one storyline that like we kind of don't talk about anymore because we're over it. But like just following the Astros this year, seeing what these guys do, because if any of them struggle, any one of them, it's going to be like pointing the finger.
Killed.
We knew it. We knew you weren't that good. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
And it's fair.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
It's fair.
Next.
Hey guys, diehard Twins fan here. Big fan of the show. Big fan of you, Trevor. So I just want to say everyone loves the Josh Donaldson signing, obviously, but one thing I don't see a lot of national baseball news talking about is the Twins have an absolute stud over at second base, Luis Arias. He came up mid-May last season, I think, and ended up taking over second base from Jonathan Scope in like July. He only played 90 games, but he hit almost like 340, and it was great on defense too. I mean, him and Polanco up the middle, are you kidding me? So it looks like the Twins are going to have him around for a while. And I that's all I have to say, but I can't leave without asking one more question. I just have to know. So I was born in 99. I've seen all of these beatings the Twins have taken from the Yankees in the playoffs, 2003, 2004, 2009, 2010, 2017, last year, 2019. I just have to ask from a Yankees fan perspective, do you guys get happy when you see that you get to play the Twins in the playoffs, or are you aware of just how sad this is? I just want to know exactly what you guys think of the Twins. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
It's like I don't like it's not a rivalry or I don't have any like hate towards the Twins, but you're putting me in a position to sound like a cocky douchey Yankee fan. But yes, when I see the Twins in the playoffs, I'm like, okay, awesome. It's just until it isn't the way it is, and the Yankees win easily.
I'm a big underdog guy, so I always hold my breath for a second when the Twins are coming in, because just the law of averages.
Eventually, they're going to get
us. At some point, it's going to happen. But I will say it's almost the quickest exhale. Like, there's usually just a moment when it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, the Yanks got him again. So I know the day of reckoning's coming, but not yet. And Trevor, that guy said a very important thing. They said the national people aren't talking about Luis Arias.
Arise.
But you know who is? You and me, Daddy.
Yeah,
yes,
we talk about him all the time.
He just made me realize we've been pronouncing it wrong. It's Rise, not Reyes. Arise.
I can turn it a little bit.
Yeah.
A little flair.
You know,
Nobody minds.
Oh, my goodness. I just hit my computer. Hey, watch out.
Be careful, Trev.
The guy definitely sounded like he's from Minnesota, which is cool. I recognize that dialect and he just sounds nice, right? He sounds like a nice guy.
Yeah, I liked him. He said he liked you, so.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Thank you for that. Yeah, we mentioned him as a guy that's best fit to hit 400 this year. Everybody that I talked to in the Twins organization is super high on this guy. I don't want to. I've heard the Rod Carew comparisons. That's pump the brakes a little bit, people. But he's got the hit tool. And if you can
is that
you're
their
be in the
name?
lineup.
Because people give Rod Carew to Andujar too. Is that the player whenever a guy's just puts the ball in play, you just say the next Rod Carew?
I think Rod's been around him and they do things similarly. You know, the way they approach at bats, he doesn't look like the 2020 MLB hitter that you think of. You know, he's kind of the guy that you were talking about maybe a couple of episodes ago, Jake. You're like, wouldn't it be cool in 10 years if there was just an influx of these guys who beat the shift, whatever. This guy's a professional hitter, uses the whole field, works the count. I think the biggest thing that you can see, and Juan Soto does this really well, and that's why people love him, is his command of the strike zone.
Yeah.
So this guy's going to make you work all the time. And I think they have a good one here. They're very confident in him, and so am I. But the Rod Carew thing, like I said, let's pump the brakes. Rod Carew is one of the best to ever do it. So he's definitely a guy that is going to be a force for them in their lineup. And it's a cool, like, you know, other side of the spectrum. They have a lot of bombers. Obviously, we know they broke the Major League record last year. They're returning a lot of those guys, plus adding Josh Donaldson. And then they add a guy like Arias in there. So it's cool. I think they have a very balanced lineup. The Yankees definitely have the Twins numbers. The Twins number during the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. You guys should feel confident until something makes you not confident.
Couple things. Donaldson is kind of the perfect example of what I was talking about for NL teams. You can improve your lineup, obviously, but you can improve your defense. Donaldson goes to third. Tell Big Miguel either play first or DH for the day. Like, you're getting a couple wins there. And I've referenced this a couple times, but I just came up with a Jakey Butterknife stat that Ozuna was brought into the Braves to kind of replace Donaldson's bat in the lineup. Ozuna's got one really good year.
Yeah.
But it's really his only standout year. He hits the ball violently. Jim, you'll like this. Ozuna only has 1 year with an OPS above 800.
Really?
1 year. He mashed with the Marlins. Last year, he was 800 on the nose. So that's a little bit of the butter knife. But it's still 800 on the nose. I mean,
Slightly above average.
Josh Donaldson has 4 seasons that start with a 9 OPS, including an MVP. Like,
they're not the same player whatsoever.
When he's healthy, he's special. And just kind of spinning it back to the Braves, like, I don't know if Ozuna gets off to kind of a slow start. I mean, it's a different kind of ball player, and I think the Braves fans are ignoring that.
I mean, they're looking at it glass half full. Like, you get a guy, you think, he's going to give his best effort this year. And maybe you surround him in the lineup the right way. Maybe that has something to do with it. But, yeah, I mean, you're comparing him to Josh Donaldson. That's not really fair. Josh is one of the best right-handed hitters we've seen in the last decade. So
I read that book, Swing Kings, a lot about Josh and his hitting coach, and pretty interesting. Josh has that big leg kick. He's part of the swing revolution.
Yes.
He's pretty vocal about it. It's cool. I was digging up and doing a lot of mental math in my head, but I got it right. I have an Arise number here that I want to throw the people's way.
Boop, 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 boop.
Trev, he played 92 games. How many games do you think he did not get a hit nor a walk out of the 92?
Well, I know his OBP was like right at 400. 92 games, how many did he not reach base?
I didn't do errors. I didn't do hit by pitch, just hits and walks.
You're making me think it's not very many. I'd say out of 92, I'm going to guess 15.
14.
I was going to say 15 too. Cool.
Okay. Out of the 92 games, how many times do you think he reached base twice?
Oof.
33.
Good guess, Trev.
I was going to go more than that. I don't know. I'll say...
Go with your gut.
I was going to say 40, but that seems like a lot now that I'm thinking
44.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
When he's there, he's there.
Half of the games he reached base twice.
Yeah. I mean, 400 OBP, man, that's the mark of a stud.
Yeah, but I just think it's crazy that you have a guy who's hitting the ball like clearly he's not a 3 true outcome. So he's not just swinging for big. So sometimes when you have those guys, it's more like an Andujar with the Yankees who's not doing the on base either because he's swinging. So it's so cool that Arise is a free swinger, puts the ball in play every which way, but also has command of the zone. So he is a really fun player to watch.
I love the more walks than strikeouts. That's kind of when at least when I was coming up, like if you could get those close at all, you were like, that is what I'm trying to do.
That's something players will even look at?
Oh, yeah. Now it's
that's
like
cool.
You don't think about it as much, but when you really, if you go and you find the best players in the game, the best hitters in the game, there's going to be some outliers there, but most of them, they're going to be closer to that 1-to-1.
Cool.
Not at 1-to-1, but closer. You're gonna rack up 80 walks and 110 strikeouts, something like that. You know what I mean? And he was 36 walks, 29 strikeouts last year, which is cool.
He's just a nightmare, man. When you see him locked into an at bat, you just get that oh shit feeling.
Yeah.
Like it's all.
There's not many of those guys left.
No.
Cool.
Yeah, I love it. And people are talking about him a ton in Minnesota. Like every time you mention their lineup, it's like, yeah, but have you seen Arise?
So Trev, we've gotten a voicemail from almost every team you've played for: A's, Phillies, Twins, and here is a Rays voicemail.
Yeah, hi. Is this Papa John's Pizza? No? All right, anyways. Hey, guys. This is Matt from Nashville.
Classic.
Just want to speak on the fact that I've been walking around the Vanderbilt campus recently and been seeing a lot of wanted signs for this guy named Jake Storielli, sorry. Just accusing him of posing and being a faker. So don't look out for that guy. Big fan of Tampa Bay Rays. I guess one storyline is how they're going to win the World Series this year, so take a look out for that. Anyways, so excited for the baseball season to be back. Love the show. Keep it up. Later, guys.
A Rays fan in Nashville? Is that where he's from? How did that happen?
No team in Nashville.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, we've done the Rays are good talk enough. I'm starting to bounce off of that because someone reminded me that the Yankees just always beat the Rays. So I was like, oh, okay. That's cool then.
If there's one clubhouse I know that doesn't, they degaff, which means doesn't give a fuck, it's the Rays. So I kind of put all that like, yeah, the Yankees beat them. I put that to rest when you talk about a team like that. I think it does hang over the Twins a little bit, but the Rays don't give a shit.
I don't think so either. Well, they can't really care about much, They don't got if you play in that stadium, you go there for 81 games, you got to have a don't give a fuck attitude. Otherwise, you can probably find annoyances every which way.
They're also they're always young too, and the young guys don't care. The young guys don't think of it. They're young and dumb. Calling the Rays dumb, but they have that attitude, that swagger. And it's one of the reasons that I'm picking them to win the World Series this year.
I want to see who they can squeeze juice out of. The Rays are a super well-run organization, and they've got some dudes they brought in this year that, as a Yankee fan, were scary. Hunter Renfroe, serious power. He was been in San Diego. Do they have something that can kind of help him boost his numbers? He kills lefties, and maybe that's all he does. And then they brought in 2 outfielders that cover ground, Margot and Arozarena, my guy from St. Louis.
You can go get it.
And if they put him with Kiermaier, they might have this weird defensive lockdown team, which could be awesome to watch. I'm seeing they just need another bat, man. They just need another. It's Jose Martinez or Susugo. Austin Meadows is a stud. They need someone else, man. You need one more bat. Like, there's a lot of pitchers that look at the Rays rotation in a playoff game that would be like, I'm giving up one and that's it.
I mean, I don't know if you know who Brandon Lowe is. He's pretty good. So you always skip over him.
He's
I want to let you know that he's pretty good. This is what I find interesting.
Is Lowe that good? Jake and I go to our computers to find out if Lowe's actually that good. Didn't he have like a 300 on base percentage?
He's good. I mean,
I'm gonna go look at stats right now. Last year,
850 OPS. I mean, it was good. It was 82 games.
That's pretty.
I need a little more.
You guys, the way you guys scoff at an 8 for the OPS is.
It's really nice. It's half a season.
82 games, Trev.
I like them.
60
This
games
is another
year. Hopefully he
team.
does it.
This is another team that I can see going out and making a move. I think Francisco Lindor fits very nicely on their team. I don't know what their system is like with prospects right now, but they always got them. It seems like they're always willing to deal them too.
Top prospect, Wander Franco. Everyone's debating if they're going to give him the call.
Yes. So if they go out and make a splash like that, that changes everything. And do not put it past those guys. Neander, my guy there, he knows what he's up.
You ever seen Two-Way McKay pitch?
I never saw him pitch. I think I was there when he got drafted and came and hit on the field.
He pitched against the Yankees once, and it was weird. He was brooding on the mound.
He's a hardo. He was a hardo.
Hardo?
Yeah.
Yeah, we only saw one game, but it was very strange. It was like, you need to take so many breaths real quick. It was weird. But he's an exciting guy, so hopefully he's good.
If you're looking for a team that's just young, electric,
hey guys, I'm
DGAF.
Sam from Madison, Wisconsin.
God damn it. Sorry.
It's okay. You can cut me off because I'm just saying the Rays are a fun team to follow. If someone's looking for a team hey, let me follow an AL team that I don't know a lot about, the Rays are going to be a good one to follow.
I'm going to sound like such a weenie head here, but if you're a casual fan just searching for a new team, you don't want to watch 81 games of baseball at the Trop.
I mean, we're talking about just this season.
This season for sure. But I'm saying if that's my every night, I don't want that. That blows.
It's going to be tough.
Get them a nice stadium get them a nice stadium where fans can actually travel there because they showed up in the playoffs. If they had a good looking, aesthetically pleasing ballpark, I think they'd be America's darling.
It's just tough for them because geographically, if they put it in Tampa, there's still not a lot of people that are just born and bred there. It's a lot of implants who have their teams like the Cubs, like the Yankees, like the Red Sox. That's just kind of what we have down in Florida.
The Lightning kind of kill it though. There's so many moving parts, and you can't just build a stadium.
They've also won haven't they won 2 Stanley Cups in the last 5 years? Or something?
Your Rays are going to win it all this year, right?
I agree. It could help, but if you're looking for a new team to latch onto forever, the Rays is not the organization you want to do that because they're going to be moving parts. You're not going to know any of the players. They're not going to be there for that long. They're kind of like the A's in that sense. I think they're the better A's, the better version of the A's. That's how I kind of think about them in my mind.
Shots fired to Chapman.
Oh, Chappie's my guy, but I'm talking about as an organization.
Yeah, no,
the way they run things. The A's are pretty good at what they do. I think the Rays are better at it.
Guys, how about a little sneaky rookie of the year, Susugo?
Susugo.
Just saying.
All right, here's the next voicemail.
Hey guys, I'm Sam from Madison, Wisconsin, and as a Brewers fan, I wanted to bring up a pretty underrated part of the roster, in my opinion, which is the pitching staff, and specifically the starters. Woodruff and Hauser both had good years last year, and I think with Lauer, Lindblom, Anderson, all could be solid and if Suter and Peralta can play as well as they did in the front, come in as starters, play as well from the bullpen last year, starters could be pretty solid this year. Thank you.
Jake, what do you got on the Brewers starters?
Code for Jimmy doesn't have nice words to say. I'll say this. I've got a way to code this. I think Woodruff's pretty talented. Like, we've seen him in the playoffs a couple years now. He can pump it. I like him. The other guys, you come into and this is kind of what the Brewers do. You come into a series and you're like, okay, Hauser, Anderson, Lindblom. Like, let's get this bread. And then you walk away, and the Brewers took 2 out of 3, and you say, how did that happen?
The bullpen and the hitting.
And Brett Anderson went 6 innings with 2 strikeouts, and they had a lead, and they gave it to the bullpen. And, you know, they've got 4 or 5 guys I like in the bullpen, maybe even more. Like a guy like Alex Claudio, he's buried, and that's a dude who's pitched pretty well before. So the starting pitching doesn't scare you, but at the same time, it's not terrible. Like, you can't circle any of those guys and be like, game on. Like, Lauer's the 5, and he was good in San Diego. Or he was solid. Like, all of these guys are just okay. Like, you'd feel bad with them in a playoff spot, but going into, like, a 4-game set, you know, the Brewers are going to brewer, man.
Hey, I think you're more scared of everything else they do than their starting pitching. I don't think you circle a win nor a loss just by name recognition.
I love that you referenced Claudio. I got to play with him in spring training with the Rangers. He throws some sort of eefish change-up submarine style from the left side.
He was closing for a little bit, yeah.
It's pretty fun. But I agree with you guys. You know, they're not gonna win this year by their starting pitching. If it's good, that's gonna make them a really good team. But they're gonna win because they bang, and they have a good bullpen. And I think the most important thing that we've seen with the Brewers is how Counsell's been able to manage the pitching staff. He can pull the strings the right way. Like, he's done that, which is, you know, it kind of gets annoying watching them play because he is making those changes all the damn time. But people are okay with it when you win.
Why'd you just say, fuck?
I kind of like the Brewers.
Brewers are a good team. They're going to be in it. They're going to be in the division. I just don't think, like, you look at the starting rotation and say, oh, that's scary.
No. It's crazy that Hader's like this. Well, Yelich and then Hader is like the scariest dude on that team.
Yeah. You're not scared of Bobby Wall?
Watch out.
That lineup, like, can be really deep. There's a lot of questions. Like, is
Kane,
Narvaez,
Yelich, Braun, Keston.
What's Smoke gonna give you? Good Justin Smoke or Matt Justin Smoke?
Matt Justin. I mean, how many times have we seen good Justin Smoke? Once.
Can Narvaez repeat
great Justin Smoke.
Can Narvaez do what he did last year? Sogard, the advanced numbers hate him, but he's a veteran. Arias is the big piece they trade for, and hey, maybe he's good, but I don't know.
Speaking of Keston, and this is kind of off subject here, you know, where I grew up, it's called the Santa Clarita Valley. Trevor Bauer's from there.
Smoke's been good. I apologize for that comment.
Thank you.
Big Game James is from there. A lot of ball players come out. And then recently I'm just learning about these new guys. Keston, a Valencia guy, Santa Clarita Valley. Tyler Glasnow went to the same high school as Trevor. I didn't know these things, and I should. It's like my hometown. I should know this stuff.
Okay.
But I became a much bigger Keston fan. 1, because I learned that, and 2, because Phil Hughes believes his cards, he prospects Keston's cards. He collects a lot of them because he thinks they're going to be worth a lot. So, kind of gives him a bump in my book, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Wow.
The Phil Hughes bump.
Didn't he DH in college? Didn't we look that up last year? Keston Hero. We were like, where did he play in college? He didn't
during
play
the
defense.
TPPs.
Just
during,
raked.
Yeah.
During the TPPs, we were trying to find out what position he played in college, and it was like he didn't.
Just rake,
hit.
baby. Just rake.
Just rake.
Yeah. They think a lot of Keston, which they should. He was great last year. And all his baseball savant numbers, Jake, are like the way you want him, kind of. Like, he's just, his WOBA's good, his barrel percentage is good, hard
He's
hit
an
rate's
anteater.
good.
UC Irvine guy, gotta love that.
It's good. It's good. Was that the last voicemail? One more voicemail. Here we go.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Big fan. So I was calling and wondering if a big player like Mookie Betts hits 210 in these 60 games with 3 home runs. Do you think that's going to affect his contract negotiations in the off season? Go Reds.
I don't think it's going to affect his contract more than COVID and the shutdown affected it.
Yeah.
Which I think affected it a lot. We've talked about that. If we've had a full discussion on that. But yeah, are you, I mean, I don't know. He rakes, gets injured, he's going to get a ton of money. I don't think I was going to say, like, if he gets injured, it's probably better than having a bad 60 games for him. But I don't think they're going to put too much stock into the 60 games. He's got a body of work that's very impressive.
Yes. That's what I was going to say. Like, he's put together enough that 60 games isn't going to hurt his free agency. But his free agency is 100% screwed because of COVID.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of the most interesting things to see. We've talked about, like, what we think he's going to get, like, but we obviously have no clue. No clue.
And there's other ways to measure things now. Like, I was looking at Mookie's 2 worst months last year. It would be like May and June, and he would have ended up with like a OPS a little under 800, which, obviously ain't Mookie Betts numbers, but like his BABIP was really low and stuff. So I mean, I think Mookie's Mookie.
Want to know a funny tidbit about interesting tidbit about Mookie and his new teammate Chris Taylor? Chris Taylor was a slap hitter, and I was reading that book, Swing Kings by Jared Diamond. And Chris Taylor, saw Justin Turner, and he said he saw Mookie Betts hitting home runs, and he was like, that dude is skinny like me and shorter than me. How come he has power and I don't? So he revolutionized his swing and did the whole thing where he changed it, more still, bat path, more in the zone early, dropping it back before you go to get that whippy motion, and then he started putting up 20 bombs a season. And now Mookie Betts is his teammate.
I went to who now is the hitting coach of the Dodgers, Rob Van Scoyoc. I went and hit with them for an off season, and Chris was one of his guys. And
yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, we kind of talked about him. And yeah, he totally changed everything. He kind of figured out how to use it's the kinetic chain and really use your body. A lot of times you're going to use one part of your body, whether it's your lower half, your upper half, but really getting it in sync can help guys a lot. He does a pretty cool thing if you watch him hit. Sometimes in the games even, all the time in batting practice, but sometimes in the game, he'll do a thing where he steps back with his right foot. So his back foot will step back. And that kind of is a feeling for him that gets him loaded up into his hip, kind of makes him ground his heels in and really get his weight back up in and coiled. So it's just interesting to see because you don't see it too often. He'll take that step back and then get ready to swing. It's kind of cool, but definitely one of the guys that it helped out a ton going and seeing Rob.
And that book's so interesting because it says, like, if you ask A-Rod to explain his swing, he'll just tell you a straight lie because he doesn't know what he's actually doing.
A lot of guys do that.
A-Rod will tell you that he goes straight from here, knob of the bat to the ball, which is how I was taught to swing as a kid, just go here and then meet it at the tee. And the whole swing revolution is like you actually should start here. I don't know if you can see me, Trevor. You start here, and your first move should be back.
Oh, most guys do go back.
Yeah,
they just don't know.
But they don't know that they do it.
Back in the day, they were scared to give young kids a hitch. That was the whole thing. You're going to get a hitch in your swing.
But all the best hitters do it. Like you can see him, and Justin Turner has the same thing. It's back.
Pretty much everybody does that. It's just knowing yourself and understanding what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, besides, it changed with the AstroTurf era, like Wade Boggs, Pete Rose, George Brett, because they had the AstroTurf. They were swinging for ground balls because you could get extra base hits on ground balls, and that Charlie Lau. The whole book is really interesting if you want to go read it, but it's very interesting to see the swing. But yeah, Ted Williams wrote about that, and everyone just kind of was like, that's not what you actually do, Ted. It's like, what?
Yeah. It's
crazy.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. We've talked about it, kind of like the old school guys and them not wanting to give any credence to what's going on now in hitting. They laugh at it and say, that's not what we did. And God, I hate hitting Twitter so much. I hate it so much. And I get a lot of it with the sequence videos, a lot of guys commenting. But there are some guys that take the so-called swing revolution too far. But the guys that were really in it, the Rob Van Scoyks, the Craig Wallenbrocks, those guys, they know what the fuck they're talking about. These guys have been holed up in a cage looking at video day after day after day after day for years. I mean, Craig Wallenbrock, who's kind of the godfather
Oracle.
of all this.
The Oracle
What's
is
that?
what they said his nickname was.
He's been doing it forever. I mean, I went to a hitting lesson with him when I was like 11 years old. And he's been teaching the same thing. People used to kind of laugh at him back then. Probably should have kept going to him. Would have been nice. But definitely interesting, like you said, if people want something interesting to read, it's fun.
It's all about like those coaches, not weird they are, and Aaron Judge is Teacher Man 98 or whatever. He's the one that gets in everyone gets in fights with him.
God, he's horrible.
But so everyone, Trev, says that he is like gentle and kind and a softie when you meet him in person, but on the internet, because he had new ideas and everyone just told him how dumb he was, that he just flipped into a troll. And like if you told him he was dumb, he just was like ruthless. He's been kicked off like every message board. But Aaron Judge flies him to New York whenever he feels like his swing is wrong, and they go to a batting cage in Manhattan that's not affiliated with the Yankees because he's not allowed on Yankees stuff at midnight after games, and we'll just go in there and hit, and Judge pays for him to fly out on a flight like that. And, he's like a crazy dude on Twitter.
I've seen a lot of his stuff, and I tell people this all the time. Those guys are good for professional hitters. But teaching a lot of the stuff that they teach to younger people I'm not okay with, because I think they're not ready for those moves. Their bodies aren't developed. They don't have enough swings under their belt. So you have to be able to establish a few key things, essentially like your contact skills should be really good. And then like your hand-eye and all that needs to like be built up. And then we can talk about these advanced moves that they're doing. But these guys, they're making a killing, man, because a lot of people, they have a few names. Like he has Judge. I know that I think Scotty Kingery also
Ian
went
Happ,
with him.
but Happ didn't like it. It's
not for everybody. And that's, people have to realize that. But yeah, these guys are on Twitter. My goodness, he's crazy.
Yeah.
If you want to see a feud, a hitting Twitter feud, it's him, and you said it's Teacher Man something.
Yeah, something like that. And Torrey
And then
Hunter,
there's
right?
Torrey just was in and out, but there's this one guy that's constantly, they go back and forth, and I don't know who the hell this guy is. His last name is Frye, Frye, and this guy's like an idiot on the other side. Like he's like so old school, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, it's okay if you just want to like collaborate, meet in the middle a little bit, but these guys are not about that life.
Jeff Fry.
All they do is, I don't know. All they do is fight, and it just gets in my timeline every once in a while, and it's like, geez, man.
Sounds fun.
What a feud.
Yeah, Teacher Man's crazy.
Here's the thing, you don't have to be a big league hitter to be a good hitting coach. And
No,
people
none
like
of these
get
guys
so
are.
mad about that.
Dude, Teacher Man, I forget his real name, but how he learned how to teach the swing was for 3 years, he just tried to mimic Barry Bonds' swing in his basement. He's just swung every day in his basement, watching Barry Bonds and then watching his. So, like, he has Barry Bonds' swing. He's a 60-year-old fat guy with Barry Bonds' swing.
Do not say that. Do not say that he has Barry Bonds' swing.
Well, whatever. He has the mechanics of Barry.
He tries to
obviously
emulate it, yeah. It's I think he does himself a disservice by him swinging all the time because it doesn't look very good.
No, but Trev, his recruiting process, and then we'll end the show, is that he sets everyone up, puts a ball on a tee, like he put Judge there, and they all got into like a ready position, and then they had someone blow a whistle, and he was like, I guarantee you I can beat you to the ball. And then they blow the whistle, and he beat every MLB player to the ball. Would that work on you? Would you be like, how do you do that?
It's a tee, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if you can get to your barrel to the ball faster off a fucking tee?
Yeah.
I have a problem with a lot of these guys because we've talked about this before. The controlled environment thing is stupid. There's a lot of things you can do in a controlled environment that you can't do in the box. So I'm not saying these guys don't know anything. They do. They poured their heart and soul into hitting. They understand the mechanics. That's just one part of hitting.
Well, go watch Sequence to find out how players really think.
It's true.
Boom. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you to everyone who called in. We appreciate it. We will see you later. Have a great weekend. Jake sucks. Punch. Big boxing show.